Atma Darshan, Chapter 3, Manasum Shuddha Sattvavum, Mind and Pure Sattva. Going forward, from here, we have to invert the angle of seeing. So, instead of seeing, I am in the waking state now, I was in the dream state earlier, and I was in deep sleep state before that. We have to invert it. Means what? I, the now, am witnessing an Advaita session, a waking state Advaita session. I, the now, witnessed a dream sequence, whatever it was. I, the now, witnessed the absence of this waking as well as dream. Yeah. So you have to invert the way you speak about yourself also. Then only can your outward journey become successful. It should first reflect in the way you think. So the attitude change always precedes the behavior change. So instead of thinking, I am awake now, this is a wrong way, that I thought. So I have to invert it immediately. Oh, let me correct myself. I, the now, am witnessing the waking state. The waking state has just begun. I, the now, am witnessing the waking state. Do you see how we have to invert it? First, it has to reflect in my thought process, in my attitude change. Then only will it reflect in the behavior. Do not expect that overnight it's going to start reflecting in my behavior. It cannot happen that. Yes. The most important thing is, can I start inverting the thought process? Remember, thought is also my projection, no? Yes. So I have to just see how I start inverting it at the thought level. It will automatically reflect at the speech level. I will not have to make an effort. Basically, I'm correcting my stand again and again. It's nothing else but correcting my own stand. Yes, and I am using mental thought as a tool to help me correct my stand in my Jagat Mithya journey. This is very important because the moment I step outward, I tend to slip into the body-mind personality. I become this body-mind personality. So the inverting has to be an effort that I have to make in the beginning of this outward journey. Clear? So I invert the angle of seeing, that inverts the angle of thought, and that finally reflects in the automatic inversion in the angle of speech or behavior. The waking arises and dissolves in me. I do not wake. The dream arises and dissolves in me. I do not dream. The deep sleep darkness arises and dissolves in me. I never sleep. I am the now, identifying myself with the container called the now instead of the contents of the now. This is the strengthening of the Jagat Mithya journey. I'll repeat that. Identifying myself with the container called the now instead of the contents of the now. Yes. This is the strengthening of the Jagat Mithya journey, the outward journey. Yeah, holding on to the now, because I can slip any moment. No, I am moving outwards. A thought can be my slippery slope. A feeling can be my slippery slope. Yeah? I have to hold on to the container. Hold on to the now, the now, the now. Yeah? So Atmananda will tell us that I have to hold on to this new identity of my own true self. My old ID has expired. Yeah, when you change places, when you change states, you have to get a new ID, like that only. I've moved away from the Brahman Satyam to Jagat Mithya. So old ID has now expired. I have to get my new ID. And what is my new ID? The new ID is the now. The now. The now. Satchidanand. Satchidanand. Yeah. If you attempt to go back to your old ID, you will be lying to yourself. Remember this. You have the higher and better knowledge of yourself now. Yeah, you recognize that, oh, I am all of this together. This entire now is who or what I am. This entire now contains this so-called image which I used to address as I. It contains other people. It contains situations. It contains things. These might be pleasant or unpleasant. It doesn't matter. Yeah? It's not a still image. It's dynamic. Yes, I am all of it. This entire now is my new identity. I have to hold on to this now, moment to moment to moment. And in the initial stages, to hold on to it, what do? Keep correcting myself. If I go back to my old ID, oh no, I do not wake, I do not sleep, I do not dream, I do not act, I am not speaking right now, I am not listening right now, I am not understanding right now, I cannot. I am the now in which this understanding is happening. I am the now in which this exchange of wisdom is happening. Hold on to that new identity again and again and again and again. The now is very clear. The new identity is very clear. That has been given a name by Atmananda, pure sattva. The now is pure sattva. If this introduction is clear, then the first verse will be very clear for you. Verse 1. How will we read that? The consciousness going towards the contents of the now is the mind. The consciousness holding on to the container called the now is pure sattva. Those who did the 10-day silent Advaita retreat, we did this similar sutra by Adi Shankaracharya, if you remember, in the Samadhi Sutras. It was the first Samadhi Sutra. Yeah, where Adi Shankaracharya is also saying the same thing. Yes. When the mind sees, oh, Adi Shankaracharya said this so many centuries ago, Atmananda is saying this now, two sages centuries apart. giving the testimony of the same inner milestone. Aha, this must be the right path. Then all doubts of the mind that could come up all get dissolved into the now. They become the contents that arise and dissolve. They come up with their own question and then they answer their own question. I, the now, am only witnessing this. There is this clarity. Aha! Two sages saying the same thing. Consciousness going out towards the objects is mind. That which turns towards the self is pure sattva. So this validation, this reassurance that the mind gets, it is encouraged to allow itself to die. Are you seeing this? The mind has to agree, the ego has to agree, okay, there is no I. I surrender. Otherwise it is so stubborn, holding on to its old ID. Do you see this? Yeah? It's hati. One little attachment comes up and it wants to go back to its old ID. You have to remind it, see, expiry date, expired ID, not valid anymore. Police is going to catch you. Drop this old ID. You have a new one. Yeah? A gentle reminder, a kind reminder, a funny reminder, humorous reminder, any reminder. Anything to help bring that truth back, yeah, that recognition back, the inversion. Yeah, there is a different kind of weather inversion. Here we are doing a spiritual inversion. Invert back to the truth of being the now, not the I. This is the practice. Again and again, inverting it from the wrong ID to the new ID. Invert the way of speaking to yourself first. That will reflect automatically in the behavior, yeah, in the speech. Yeah. Why? Because now I have realized this is no more a concept for me. I have realized that this world is really not the way I used to conceive of it before. Jagat Mithya is my realization, not intellectual comprehension. The world is not the way I used to see it before. So instead of saying I am in the now, I learned to change the speech to I am the now. Instead of saying I am learning Atmananda's teaching right now, say I the now am witnessing Atmananda's teaching arise in me. Once you have inverted the angle of speech to go hand in hand with your seeing, clarity will dawn that this now is pure sattva. You will see why Atmananda is calling it pure sattva. You will see it is not rajas and not tamas. That is why it is sattva. What is rajas? Rajas is activity. Tamas is passivity. Outward going mind is either rajasic or tamasic. Either lost in activity or lost in passivity or inertia. The inward abidance, that is sattva. The outward going mind is always caught up in opposites. This should be your hint. How should I know I'm lost in rajas or tamas? Oh, the outward going mind is always caught in opposites. I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want this. This is right, this is wrong. Oh, the knowledge should be this way and it should not be this way. Again, you are lost in the mind. Oh, Atmananda should have used this word and should not have used this word. This is also being lost in the mind. You are again lost. You might not have the material world rajas and tamas, but you have the spiritual world rajas and tamas. Dropping even that is required, mandatory step. That which goes beyond the opposites is the consciousness turned towards the self. It is pure sattva. Sattva is perfect balance. Sattva is that which is beyond both opposites. I am the now. The now, when it leaves the stand of the now, it becomes the mind. When the now abides in itself, it is pure sattva. And remember, how is the now? There is shouting and screaming kids. There is the fighting neighbor or spouse or mother-in-law or father-in-law. All the drama going on there. This person is completely interacting with its drama. Yet there is a silence. The silence of the now. There is dynamism and there is the stillness. The still container contains the dynamic activity. Yes, the now is silence, the now is stillness. I am the container called the now. Even though the contents of me, the now, are noise. Dynamic stillness. On close observation, it will be noticed that this noise is also born out of desire or fear. Previously projected desire or fear of mine only. Previously projected raga or dvesha of mine only. Yes. I wanted it to happen. I wanted this screaming drama, that arguing drama, this passion, this competition, this, all of it is me. Yes. In the previous identity, I used to prefer to say it is not me. Now in this new identity, it is all me. It is all me, not even all mine. We have to move one step above mine. Yeah? It is me. It is me. Yeah. So, if you know about we have this dance where the performer dresses up as a woman on half side of the body and as a man on the other side of the body. This dance signifies the two opposites. Yes. And on the back side of the head, there is the face of God or Shiva. Okay. Signifying that it is all me. All opposites are me. Yes. It's not just the opposites of male and female. That was just used as one symbolism, yeah, to bring out the clarity of the opposites of the world. And then there is the Shiva on the back of the head, which means I am all of this. All is me. I am God. I am the devil. I am the opposites and I am the totality. I am the silence. I am the dynamism. I am all of this. Yeah? So moving from the old identity, which rejected the noise and said, no, I am not the noise. I don't want the noise. That rejected the noise. Now we come to the new identity where all is me. The still, silent container is me. The objects of container, the contents of the container, the noisy contents, that is also me. Which means what? The mind is not a separate devil out there that has come to fight with the now. No. It is not that which can destroy the silence of the now. It cannot. In fact, the mind is nothing but me leaving my identity of the now and going out towards the imaginary noise objects. And me coming back home, staying at home is pure sattva. Me leaving home is the mind returning back towards the home drops its identity of the mind and becomes pure sattva. Me staying at home is pure sattva. So an intellectual confusion can arise here. Some of us really worked on projection so strongly, we can come up with a question: does projection mean that I left home? That's how I projected? No. Ask yourself, does the sun have to leave its home to shine its light? The action of projection does not mean going out towards the objects. Projection is my nature. Do you get it? So I cannot reject that which is my nature. I cannot stop projecting. Projection is my nature. It's like shining my rays of light. Like the sun shines its rays of light in the sky. It is not leaving its position, its stand. It's not leaving home to do that. Yeah. However, identifying with that perceived projection definitely means leaving home. If the sun says, oh, the sunlight that is there in the sage's room, that is me. But the sunlight in the terrorist room, that is not me. Then this is identification. Do you understand? I'm just giving you a poetic example. The moment I identify, I limit myself. Yes? That sense of limitation, that is your hint. The moment I have limited myself, I have identified with my own projection. Now I have started the old style of rejecting what I don't like in the projection. Alert. Let it be an alarm for yourself. Okay, I'm again going outwards. Wrong direction. Turn back. Yeah. So what is the hint? The hint is the identification with my own projected light, with my own projected ray. That is called going out towards the objects. This is the meaning of the line: consciousness going out towards the objects is the mind. The moment I recognize, oh, I'm again lost in identification. Doesn't matter sage's room or terrorist's room. I am the light. Yes. There is no sage's room and terrorist's room actually. I have created new labels. I have started going out. So labeling, the moment labeling starts happening means I have left my stand. Yeah? So this should be another hint for me. So take it as an important pointer to remember. I am the sun. My rays always disperse outwards. It does not matter what the dispersal is. It does not matter what the projection is. It is what it is. It is what it is. This is the now. I am the now. In fact, even start dropping the ID of now, the identification of now. It will actually happen naturally. The more you start working on this as a practice and recognizing, see, again, there is this outward turning. Just the inward turning brings you to the now, and this container has no border, it has no limit. Automatically, the I drops. But the I will drop only when you start establishing in and as the now again and again and again. Only when the I drops, that is called pure sattva. Yeah, otherwise, you're just getting glimpses of sattva in between the big I popping up and saying, I am the now. Okay, it's a stepping stone. It's okay. It has to say that. So it prevents you from again going out, slipping outward. Yeah, it's okay. It's a good stepping stone. Now, more inwards. The more you're focused inwards, the I cannot stand very long, cannot tolerate it. It collapses automatically. When the I collapses, what remains is pure sattva, pure balance, pure harmony. If verse 1 is clear, can I move to verse 2? Verse 2. So first let's understand the Sanskrit words Vidya and Avidya. Vidya is not simply knowing, and Avidya is not simply not knowing. It is actually having the ability to discriminate between knowledge and illusion, or not have this ability. Yeah? So, Vidya means having the ability to discriminate between knowledge and illusion. Avidya means lacking the ability to discriminate between knowledge and illusion. Let's take the example of an unconditioned mind, completely uncolored by the, the identity of I and therefore a projected you or the other. For example, an infant, a little child. An infant sees a huge wide-screen television for the first time in his life. He sees beautiful colors there. He feels there is an actual colorful toy there. He crawls towards the screen and reaches out in the hope of grasping that colorful toy. His viveka is undeveloped. He lacks the power to discriminate between his colorful toy that he plays with on a daily basis and the colorful screen, the colors projected on the screen. This lack of viveka is called avidya. Inability to discriminate between knowledge and illusion. Okay, in this example, we say real toy and false toy. Now you have to extend this. It's only a waking world example. So you have to extend this. What is the meaning of avidya on the spiritual path? It is the lack of power to discriminate between this that I call a person and the knowledge of a person. Is this knowledge or is this an actual person in an actual world? It is only knowledge. There is no person and there is no world. If this person were real and this world were real, it would have been continuously there. But that does not happen. I, the now, am continuously there. This person and this world arise, that is called the beginning of the waking state. They play for a while and then they dissolve. That is called the end of the waking state. But I still am. So, what was this? Was this really a person and a world? No, it is only the knowledge of the person and a world. There is only knowledge. Jnana. That's the first word of Jnana Sangha. Jnana. There is only knowledge. There is no person. There is no world. Yes, but one who holds on to this waking state, 16 hours, 17 hours, 18 hours, oh, this is my reality. This is the truth. Yes, that person lacks vidya. That is called avidya. Yeah. Now, why does he lack vidya? He lacks vidya because he lacks viveka, the power to discriminate. Do you see that? Viveka is what feeds into vidya. Viveka develops into vidya. The power to discriminate is that first spark that lights the fire of wisdom or knowledge called vidya. Avidya is ignorance, the lack of power to discriminate between knowledge of a person and world and a person and world. Avidya is the lack of power to discriminate between knowledge and illusion. Mind is avidya. The mind cannot discriminate between this colorful world because the mind arises in this container called the now at the beginning of the dream state, continues into the waking, continues into the dream and again drops off, no? That's all. That is its shelf life. So the mind cannot really see the container called the now because it is the content of this container. It is not the container. The content cannot recognize the container. That is why the mind cannot discriminate between knowledge and illusion. Yeah. So, what does the mind do? The mind assumes this knowledge to be reality. The knowledge of the person in the world is misunderstood as reality by the mind. That is why mind is avidya. That is why mind is ignorance itself. Yeah. Pure sattva is vidya. Pure sattva, consciousness turned towards itself. That which is the now, recognizing itself as the now, holding on to the now. That is vidya. It gets a special benefit. It manages to see what the mind cannot see. What is that benefit? The consciousness turned towards itself sees both the opposites together. and laughs at them. He's able to go beyond these opposites. The mind gets stuck in opposites, right, wrong. This is the way it should be and this is the way it should not be. Mind is stuck. Good, bad. Sage, terrorist. Identification happens the moment there is the sticking on to opposites. Either of the opposites will get the mind caught up in the false illusion of a person in the world. Even the opposites of the spiritual knowledge should be this way and not this way. You are stuck. Spiritually stuck, but still stuck. You are still the mind. You are still lost. So turn away from these opposites. That is the path of Vidya. That is the verse. Yeah? This outgoing path is avidya. And the inward path is Vidya. Mind is avidya and pure sattva is Vidya. So obviously, if going inwards is Vidya, pure sattva is Vidya, which is the path to liberation? The Vidya path, only going inwards. Why? Because Vidya has that special quality of Viveka, being able to discriminate between knowledge and illusion. The more it discriminates, the easier it becomes to stay turned away from the opposites. Have you noticed this? Yes. The more you discriminate, Viveka feeds into Vidya. Yeah? And then Vidya makes your Viveka even stronger. They feed into each other. This helps you stay away from that temptation outside. Remember, only when you are inward turned, the recognition of knowledge will be clear, moment to moment to moment. It is recognized clearly that there is simply the knowledge of an I. There is no real I. It will be recognized very clearly. Oh, there is simply the knowledge of a body. There is no real body. Oh, there is this thought or there is this knowledge, simply the knowledge of a mind. There is no real mind. Oh, it is clearly recognized. There's simply the knowledge of a world. There is no real world out there. This becoming clear means you have completely come into knowledge. You have become established in knowledge. Now the illusion cannot fool me anymore. The first time you see a mirage, it's a very natural reaction to run towards it. Oh, water, it'll be cool there. In the hot desert, that is my only solace. A natural going out, running towards. But the moment you get there and you touch it, oh, there's no water. Yeah. Now it cannot fool me. Now I keep walking in the desert and how many ever beautiful mirages I see, oh, it's not real. It's not real. I cannot be fooled by the same magic trick again. Do you get it? This is the meaning of being established. In the now, as the now. This is the meaning of recognizing Satchidananda in the Jagat. Now all those n number of mirages cannot fool me. No magic trick works. It's a natural maturity. Very clear? So only when the consciousness goes beyond the opposites and sees there is simply knowledge and not an actual world, not an actual person, not an actual mind, not an actual I, then only can you say you have set out on the path of Vidya. And that Vidya alone will take you to liberation. That's the meaning of the last line. Vidya alone is the means of liberation. Verse 3. Yeah? The path of avidya means the path of going out towards the opposites, going outwards towards the belief of I in a world. Yeah? The path of avidya means going outwards towards the illusion. It is infested by opposites, infested. Sin, virtue, merit, demerit, good, bad, right, wrong, and goes on and on and on, multiplying, infested. If I give into even one single illusory virus, the virus of illusion, one little thing, I'm going to be diseased, I'm going to be pulled in. Yes? That is bondage. Why? Because it stems from that first giving in. Why do I give in the first time? The belief I am the person has come up. Asmita has come up. That's when I give into some or the other belief of being the person in the world, right, wrong, good, bad, merit, demerit, sin, virtue, blah, blah. So the belief is the first step, the belief that I am this person called Ekta. That is the starting point of the disease. That is the exposure to the virus. Now there is no going back home. So that is the meaning of bondage. Bondage is a constant struggle between the opposites. Yeah? There's simply the craving in the consciousness that has become the mind. There's this craving to grasp only one of the opposites. Recognize this. It does not want the other. It wants to reject the other opposite. But opposites are designed as a couple. One leads to the other. It's a tax you pay. Yeah. The so-called person wants only one. He does not want the other. But the other follows as a tax. Uninvited guest. And therefore there is suffering. That is why the path of avidya is always bondage. Always. 100%. This brings us to a vital truth. What is that? There is no joy in this world. There is only suffering. So if you attempt, okay, I am going to put a smile on that person's face and that person's face, I'm going to make all these people happy. You become a shopkeeper. First, you sold your soul to Asmita, to the belief of being I am somebody, and then you became the shopkeeper who sells smiles to millions. You are a liar. There is no joy in this world. The moment you turn outward, recognize there is only suffering. There is only suffering. Yes. That is why it is a bondage. Do you understand now why the word bondage is used? because there is no possibility of any joy, no possibility of happiness. And this is very hard to swallow on the inward journey. So if you are having digestion problems right now, remember your inward journey is not complete. But if the digestion is smooth movements, no issues, then only you deserve to be in Gurukul right now. Recognize this truth. That should be your alarm bell. If I do not take this very willingly, happily, kindly, that there is no joy in this world, something on my inward journey is incomplete. Yeah. It means you're holding on to some material or spiritual attachment under the mask called love. There is nothing like that. It will keep you bound to that belief of being the person in the world attached to that particular material attachment or the spiritual attachment. Even if you're attached to a guru, you're attached to Ekta, you are attached. Suffering, bondage, dukkha. Now you want the guru to be like this and not like this. Do this and not do this. Do you see this? Yeah, you get lost, you get caught. Bondage, suffering, spiritual attachment is also an attachment. Drop, 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 drop. Drop the attachment even to the guru, to the teacher, to the path. All of this is the contents. I am the container. Again, hold on to the now. All this is bondage. All this is suffering. Okay? Turn inwards. The path of Vidya. Turn inwards. It is a silent path. It is not the path of noise. That is why the mind gets bored there. Do you recognize this? It starts feeling restless. Now it wants something. Oh, it's too silent. Don't give me too much silence. Oh, don't give me so much truth. I don't like the truth that there is no joy in the world. Oh, I don't like the truth that the world means suffering. No, no, don't give me that. Something is still incomplete. Something is still lacking if the mind is shaking like that. Become stronger. The path of Vidya is the silent path. It is devoid of any bondage creation. And the silence liberates you. Liberates you from what? First of all, thinking I am this person. Then thinking I am against the world or the world is against me and there is this big battle that I have to fight. Survival of the fittest. This is so much work, so much pain. Self-inflicted torture. Do you see this? This is the path of bondage. Turn away. This is the path of silence, of liberation. This liberates you from that. There is no I. There is no other. There is not even a God. There's simply the nobodiness and nothingness of the now. The now has a nobodiness quality in it, a nothingness quality in it. It's simply a oneness of nothingness and nobodiness. The oneness is the now. The oneness of the now is the path to liberation. And liberate from what? Liberate from the idea of a person, of being a person. So, homework for you. Are you able to recognize this oneness of the now, moment to moment to moment? This inward path of silence reveals that the world plus the person, plus the witness of the person and the world, they are all Satchidananda. This revelation happens moment to moment. Are you able to see it moment to moment? That is what you need to work on this outward journey. Moment to moment to moment to moment. Verse 4. So if you're not able to see it moment to moment to moment yet, drop everything else. Drop this world of opposites and start striving towards only this one thing, the nobodiness and no thingness of the now. Striving is your nature. Striving is your nature. For eternal peace, persistent striving is necessary till enlightenment. And what is the striving really about? You don't have to go sit on the Himalayas, don't have to wear white clothes, don't have to give up things. This is still all limited to the waking state. No. All you have to do is recognize the nobodiness and nothingness of the now and hold on to it. Don't give in to the temporary illusions. Don't give in to the mirages. Don't start running behind the rainbows. That's all that the striving is about. Hold on to knowledge. Don't run behind the illusion. Striving is your nature. Just like the nature of the candle wax is to keep melting away, constantly melting away, yeah? To keep the flame burning. That is your nature. Persistent striving. The nature of water is to flow, continuously flowing, continuously flowing, continuously flowing. That is your nature. The nature of the sun is to disperse light and warmth impartially to all, in all directions. Ceaselessly doing that. Not stopping, being persistent, consistent. Yeah, there will be times when you slip outwards. Yeah. Recognize it, sit down and make a note. Oh, very strong attachment, very strong attachment. Recognize it, break it down. Is it anything other than simply opposites? I'm either caught up in this opposite or that opposite. I'm holding on to the opposite. Who's holding on? See the false sense of being this person. Asmita is holding on. Am I this person? Oh no, again I'm lost in the content. Can I go back to my true identity, the new ID? Oh, I'm the container, the now, the nobodiness, the nothingness. Yeah? Come back up. Persistent striving, moving away from the illusion back to the knowledge, moving away from avidya back to vidya. Yeah? Moving away from the bondage towards liberation. This is the persistent striving. Yeah? So, working on yourself is striving. Listening to this talk a zillion times is not striving, huh? Memorizing all these shlokas of Atmananda, still limited to the waking state. It is not striving. You get it? Yeah. What is striving? Again and again making that inner inversion, seeing it correctly, holding on to that which I see. That the persistent striving is necessary till enlightenment. So keep striving, until you see Satchidananda in the Jagat. Moment to moment to moment. Keep striving. Keep striving. That completes chapter 3.